DC'd. I really think I need to the CPU thing. Might have to upgrade my chipset. Jesus. We'll see. We know it's a wipe. Can't do an exchange for shit. I don't get it. Like, this DLC's been out for well over 2 years, and people are still having problems with exchange on Pinion. Like, I don't get that. I don't get it. It's like it's a double exchange. Somebody crosses. As soon as she crosses the middle of the Pinion platform, somebody lets the fire trail go past, grabs, goes the other opposite direction. Cool. I'm out of this group. Thank fucking God. Actually, it's probably the best thing that happened to me all day. I got a necklace out of it, though. Okay. Let me fix this. I'll put up the chat. People having problems with opinion. Seriously. I mean, come on, man. How are you fucking up on opinion? Like, I don't get it. Like, how are you screwing up that Pinion? I don't know, man. That's so questionable to me. All right. Going to pop this open. Wow. It's simply amazing. For anybody wanting to know, if you have problems with White Gold Tower, the easiest thing to do, she's got a face. She's going to, you know, her flames are going to be red, right? You're going to see AoEs drop on the ground. Stay between the AoEs. Do not get in them. They'll kill you. Lot. Avoid the and stay out of the middle of the Pinion. That's the biggest deal in that. It's just, you have to stay clear of the middle of the Pinion. You want to stay around to the outside of it. This way there's nothing dropping in that middle. As soon as she turns blue, someone goes up who doesn't have portals, ideally. So when somebody goes ping pong her, right, exactly, Curl, that's what you do. Exactly, you ping pong her. Basically, you're running her back and forth between the friggin' Pinion of the middle of the thing. And people are still having problems with that long after. And vets in their friggin' like 800-900s are still messing up that mechanic. It's like, how do you screw that up? How? It's not even, you know, Mulog, not even Kina that it gives people the problem. It's the friggin' inhibitor. It never ceases to amaze me that players will still botch that up. Like, they'll botch it. They'll totally botch that up to the point where you're like, you know, wanting to slam your head off of a desk. You know? It's not that hard. It's just you stay out of the middle. You wrap around. Whoever's got the portals. 2 people now get portals. Used to be 1. So it's even easier now. So all of a sudden you can just do a heavy attack on a portal. It clears it. If you don't get it in time, ads come out. Portals was not an issue. The portals were not an issue on that fight. It was the exchange. So you got to do it twice. You have to do an exchange twice because the debuffs are going to be applied. When the stacks add up, the longer you hold on to it. So the closer she gets to you and those debuffs start adding up, the more damage you take. That's why you do an exchange twice on blue. Then tank takes back over on the clear, and then boom, reset. There are tons of videos showing you how to do it right, but how many people still mess it up? I just don't get it. Like, I don't get how people are messing that mechanic up. It's just so easy. It is so easy. It's just like, that is not a hard mechanic. There is no excuse 2 years after, and for a vet in their 800s not to know how to do that mechanic and how to ping it. You know, just no excuse. Yeah, I can see, you know, a 300. I can see, you know, maybe a 400 even having problems and struggling with it. But 800s, you're a vet 800 and you don't know how to do the exchange. Man, that's just not right, man. You know? Boy, I'm getting them today, aren't I? Man, my random vets are just awesome today. I'm pugging the hardest content in this. Wow, cool. Actually, doesn't look too bad. Except that 600. Oh, I still have yet to do the quest on this dude. Alright, cool. Whatever. Same for Cradle of Shadows, right? Shit. Dude, I pulled. What are they doing? They're shortcutting it? Dude's getting me killed. They're getting me killed. I don't even know how to do this shortcut. This is a new one for me. Alright guys, I'm sorry if you die at this point. You guys shortcut it, didn't tell me about it, and now we're screwed. We're screwed. You know, you guys got company coming. I'm going to be using PvP bots. Was not anticipating that. Alright. We're engaged. Get me the hell away from that Minotaur. I want to look for a little circle thing. Yep. Get in. There's the knockback. Shield should be popping up. Yep. Right here. That's cool. I got kicked. Actually, I'm glad I did. Now I'm in Falkirth Hold. If they take it off of the corner, it's a little bit better. Because that stomp. I should have changed my friggin' settings here. Yep. Damn it. Get me out of that. This is not where I want to be. Nothing you can do during this phase. You die, you're screwed. Tank got it. Nice recovery. You don't want to be close to that thing, man. Just pull it to the curb. Makes dealing with the AoEs a lot easier. That's why. Ah! I'm not gonna have enough! I'm not gonna have enough! You gotta stay away from Stomp, man. You have to. That dude's getting too close. He's getting pinned down, then he's getting stomped. Tank's badass. Southern Deeps looks really good. Come on, stop rezzing, just finish it. It gets harder at the 25%. Stop rezzing, just finish. It's at 5%. Look, I'm gonna get freaking stomped on, man. Oh my god. Stream died. Come back and Falkrith, right? Okay, for anybody wanting to know, a lot of people will tell you, the best way to do it is kind of over here. You can kite it around the rocks. That kind of limits the pinning, right? So a lot of people try to do it at the door, and you can if you burn it down fast enough, but it's just better to take it to the back, typically. Okay, I got to charge. Must be just farming stuff. That's fine. The poor DPS. I felt bad for him anyways. He was rezzing a lot. He was doing his job. This is where a lot of pugs give up the mammoth, right? It's because, when you get pinned down and that stomp happens, it's usually guaranteed to wipe. The tank was just beast. This tank is beast. $16.6K. No wonder why probably dude was dying a little bit. Okay. 16.2 or 17. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Alright. Sure. Let's go. I just want my random done. tank's holding on pretty good to that Minotaur. That's why you never want to be right directly behind the tank in here. Deeps is a little weak. I don't know. I got my mammoth pet now. Where's my mammoth mount? Right! Zai wants a mammoth mount too. I think it'd be badass. How large do you scale it though? That's the question I have. Actually, I'm going to throw a little bit of cushion because I know that AoE is coming, right? Never. You guys better AoE. Where's your AoE? Like you like there's nothing to lose. I'm not seeing any endless hail. I'm not seeing walls. I'm not seeing caltrops. Okay, steel tornado. Not enough. Not enough, man. Gotta layer AoEs. You're in your 700s, man, and you ain't layering AoEs yet. Wow. Little bit bigger than bear mount. Ah, that's not a bad idea. The scaling system, right. Okay, I can see that. Man, no way do we get past the next boss on the mechanic. It's like I'm hitting every friggin' thing that could go wrong today is going wrong today with my pugs. That's why I'm usually a little picky on my DLCs. I'm not gonna lie. Typically I don't pug a lot of DLCs. I roll with selected players. I know it sounds elitist and whatever, but honestly, there's me biting it. There's no AoEs, man. You don't single target oh look, dude, finally whatever. Jeez. It's my fault. I should have brought in more potions. Tank's beast. This tank, I like this tank a lot. I'm just dying to his AoEs. No AoEs, man. Just Magic Night Blade. You got to hold back, man. This. Does he have the ice set? Oh my god. Why is a night... Oh, I'm out! Thank you! Thank you! Oh my god. Everybody dropped. Everybody quit. Need random non-DLC or random DLC choices. Something, man. Something. DLCs on Vet are just a different world. They're just a whole different breed. And for Pugs, it's just not whatever. Where's the Endless Hail, the Caltrops, Elemental Blockade, AoE? Right, there was none. There was none. Literally. Their AoEs was just not even present. It wasn't. And I think this is probably a good reason, a good episode to reflect on the little problems that players have. Because stacking AoE damage is important. Especially when you have more than, I don't know, one target. It's good. It's important. The more AoEs you stack, the multiplier, the damage will distribute against more than one target. That's why they're called AoEs, area of effect. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm probably going to take a break here. I'm a little depressed. I'm a little upset. The fact that I get 2 DLC dungeons. 2. I have DPS that doesn't know a mechanic in the first one. Doesn't know. Didn't know. Right? Didn't know about pinion exchange. It doesn't even matter. You don't know pinion exchange. You can have the best DPS. If you don't exchange pinion in a timely manner, you're dead. Alright? So mechanic 1. This group, the first DPS was good. He was solid. I mean, he did his thing. He was doing his job. That tank last run was really good. I mean, really good tank. Solid tank. And the problem of it is that we didn't have DPS, AoEing. We have more than one target. Now there's no AoEs? I don't know, man. Vet DLC needs to be set to require minimum of CP 300. I agree, Rock. I agree. I do. I hate to say it like that. I hate to say it like that. And I know a lot of people at ZOS would probably frown because there are players who can do it under CP 300, but it's so minute, right? It's inconceivable because literally 300 was the equivalent of Vet 13. When ICP was released. That was max. So that's why we're always saying, 300 made sense because it was like, equivalent of, vet level 13. And now when we take a look at it, as far as like bonuses and applied damage. And now when we take a look at DPS, they're little, overzealous, and they want to go ahead and they want to get their shit right away as soon as they hit 160, and they're in there, they're trying to get their purples, and I don't think they realize the CP points out, put into the system, make up, add to your healing, your damage, your survivability, your critical bonuses, all of that. So going in anything prior to CP 300, you're at a slight disadvantage, a slight, not to say you can't do it, but you're at a slight disadvantage. And I think ZOS just should make DLC vets minimum 300 CP just so players can go into content and not feel like they're having to carry somebody. Now, same thing with trials. I don't think trials need a requirement because it's up to that team to decide what they need. A trial situation, I feel like, doesn't need required CP. I don't feel like normals need a required CP. I don't feel like non-DLC vets need a CP or requirement. And I'm not saying make it a requirement. Make it suggested. Just say, hey, this DLC is suggested CP 300 and up. That's all I'm asking. Put a suggested, But, at the end of the day, it kind of gets to me when I walk into a content and players will blame everything, and I do it too. You'll blame everybody but yourself. But when you're taking a look at the mechanics, are you being subjective? Are you being, open to why it isn't working? What needs to happen and what needs to change? So that's the biggest deal. That's what you need to take a look at. First dungeon, I literally, they said they knew the exchange, they didn't know exchange. Right, thank you, Kevin. So that's the biggest point, man. You have to take a look. Why didn't it work? Well, we were messing up on exchange on the first one. On this one, no AoEs, man. There was no endless hail. There was no, sure, he's got steel tornado, 1, but there's no stack on your AoE effects. That's important, man. This shit comes in handy. That's duration. That's the durated effect that's not being spammed. Single target application, sometimes depending on the class, has durated effect and instant effect, or either or. Suggestion sounds good, right? Just a suggestion. Doesn't have to be a requirement. Just saying suggested CP300. Enter at your own risk, if you will. And that kind of gives new players the perception or the realization that, oh shit, maybe I should wait, right? And I'm glad that the skill advisory is coming out, because that to me is kind of a good aspect, because of a lot of problems. I don't know how in depth that system's going to get for new players. They'll probably still have to figure out builds and rotation. I'm not saying it's going to help with everything, but it's a start in the right direction. Because the problem a lot of players have is, how to, manage their rotation. Even with the, up to end game level, players will screw up rotation. So it is what it is. You screw up, and that affects, in recovery during mechanics. That's a big issue. They'll ignore a suggestion, same as the DPS queue as a tank, right? Well, I don't know, man, but at that level, DPS queuing as a tank get quickly snubbed out these days. Like, they do. If you see a tank, like, literally under, like, a certain health, you already know. You're just like, kick, plonk, gone. Everybody usually agree unless he's queued with a friend who's trying to, like, bypass it. But then your healer usually leaves. I do the same thing. If I'm healing it, I bounce. But, honestly, most players don't stand for non-tanks, and there's a reason. And that's, hey, Clint, morning, welcome to the stream. I'm about to wrap up here. But honestly, I think suggested would at least give them the heads up. Hey, man, this is pretty hard content. This is pretty hard content. So you might want to go ahead and evaluate your, whether or not you should be coming in on this vet. Not saying normal. DLC normal, open to anybody. Open to anybody. It's normal. It's normal. I think it promotes normal DLC queues for players under that CP level and get accustomed with at least the mapping system and the layout of what's happening. Mechanics, the problem of it is normal's too easy at times. And I feel like people will not pay attention to what mechanics are being displayed. I had a Sork in DC2 that wouldn't use AoE attacks. One PUG drove me crazy. Right. And if you don't if you don't have AoEs, it makes it that much harder to get through ads, man. Trash. Probably they are PvP and they think it's easy to PvE, and it's not. Right, Kevin? I agree, man. I agree, Kevin, with that statement. A lot of PvPers will come into a dungeon. I've had to carry PvPers through DLCs because they want a monster set. They're like, oh, I want this monster set. I'm like, okay. What do you want to do? And they're like, I want a DPS. I'm like, whoa, bud. You're going to tell me you don't do PvE content and you want a DPS? No. That's not happening. You got a tank or a healer. And they're like, I could go tank. And I'm like, yeah, just grab me a tank, get something around whatever, put a mitigation. You're just going to hold taunt and block and, whatever. We'll walk you through it. And we DPS it and we heal it, me and my main dudes. And we'll walk them through it. You know, we'll carry PvPers. You know, at times we will not put them in as DPS. Never happen, because DPS just needs to know their shit. They have to. You know, because your recovery time, like I said, Outcast probably has the best recovery time for mechanics that I've ever seen anybody ever display. You know, between mechanics and his rotation. It's pretty key. So, honestly, man, I agree with you there, Kevin. A lot, PvE content, especially at DLC level, and that's why I always tell people, if you can heal or tank a DLC hard mode, like literally like vet trials with organized groups, that's not a harder. I'm sorry. I mean, yeah, hard mode is hard, don't get me wrong. It's challenging, don't get me wrong there. I'm not saying it like that. I'm just saying if you've completed it and you've gotten, you know, up to that point, you're ready. You can do it. You can do vets. But DLCs, man, the mechanics are just, there's sometimes, I think, more mechanics firing for 4 people than there is in a vet trial for 12 people. Let me put it that way. Don't get me started on PvPers coming into vet PvE content and thinking it's easy. I should be able to stand in the fire because we got a healer. Not my fault the healer sucks. Because you're a tank. You're a tank. And tanks should be able to mitigate that damage. If their shield system's up and the healer's healing, yeah, you're right, Rock. Because you're blocking a phase, you're throwing your mitigation up, the healer should be able to cap you over. You're right. You're right. Laugh out loud. Was in a dungeon and a PvP was with a 2-hand and a sword and shield. I'm like, nope, I wouldn't blame you. You know, there's a lot of options for builds, but right, when you see, like when I saw that DPS and full plate, I'm like, you're losing so much weapon damage. I don't care what his build is, but dungeons harder than trials. No, blah. Vet, hard mode, dungeons, dude. If you can do it, you're ready for trials, because the amount of mechanics firing for 4-man versus 12 is a lot more intense on that. So you can't sit there and just say that. Like, oh, DLC dungeons and are so much easier than vet trials. You know, fucking against 12? Do the math, man. 4, 12. 4, 12. PvE DPS for dungeons are easy. It's not like you have to test for dungeons. If you, let's put it this way, you have your accomplishments, right? You have your accomplishments. You want your speed feat, right? You want your no death in DLC with hard mode. So no death, speed feat, hard mode. Is it on the caliber? Is it on the caliber? Yeah. 20 minutes for a DLC dungeon. 20 minutes. You got 20 minutes of speed feat. Hard mode has to be completed. And no death. I'm sorry. I can run Vet Hellraw 3 times over easier than some of these DLC dungeons. With hard mode, speed feat, no death. I'm sorry, it's the truth. It's the truth. That's why you test for trials. Dungeons are easy. Trials are not that much harder for 4, depending on which trial. It's not that fucking hard. Really. Seriously, if you got organized play with 12, you got 12, it's not that hard. Healing vet dungeons is training for trials. Right, that's what I'm saying. If you can do the content at that level on DLCs, on vet, on hard mode, and push it, you're ready for trials. You're ready for vet trials. You're ready to step your feet and put it in that. That's what you're ready for. They are not hard if you know what you're doing really. Right! But same thing with trials, Justin. It's the same principle. It's the same principle. There's no death speed run, hard runs for trials too. I'm kind of getting to the thing, blah. Are you being a stupid troll? What I'm saying is, literally, if you can get the feats for hard mode, right? And you can run it in organized play and get it within 20 minutes on hard mode, you're ready to kind of step foot into that scenario. I PvE, tank, heal, and DPS. It's not hard to go for Chiefs. Well, that's what I'm saying. That acts the key if you know what you are doing. That's what I'm saying. Thank you, Rock. If you know what you're doing, that's the key. That's what we're talking about. That's the element in which you have to understand. Not everybody knows what to do. Sometimes mechanics will get in your way. You can have the best DPS in the world, right? And I've seen it time and time again, where you have awesome people who know what they're doing when it comes to their build, but you put them in the scenario for mechanics, and they fumble the ball left and right. It's like you have the fastest runner that you could possibly recruit on your team. Problem of it is he can't hold on to the ball. He drops the ball left and fucking right because he doesn't know mechanics. Is that good? Is that good for your team? No. No. That's the point. That's the correlation I'm making here. For all you dumb fucks, trolls, Justin and blah. Supposed elitist. Fucking A. What a fucking joke. Been doing this 21 years, guys. I was a raid leader for reasons. You know? For real fucking reasons. First thing I had to do was put him in a real scenario. A dummy ain't going to put him in that scenario. The dummy's not going to put him there. I've got to put him there. I've got to put him in that scenario. How does his response go? Once again, that's kind of why I go back to the Outcast, because Outcast, when he streams, you get to see the up and the recovery points of his metrics. Because his recovery is the best, the cleanest recovery you'll see. Nobody else is streaming that type of recovery during a mechanic throughout the rotation. And what you lose, you can't practically go to a target dummy, say, oh, I'm testing this, and it's applicable. That's bullshit. And even Outcast says that's bullshit. It's not about the DPS. You have shit DPS. Tanks and healers, key. I agree with that. You know, tanks and healers are key. I agree with that. You know, definitely. Tanks and healers are key. This is a vet mode PUG, not pre-made. 4-man. Everyone knows the mechanics. Right. Yeah, no, as soon as you said that, Justin, I can tell you're not a troll. Because you're right. You're right. There's key factors that you have to have. And you're absolutely 100% correct. But to me, like testing, when somebody would say, I want to test a target dummy. No, motherfucker. I don't want your fucking parse. Don't forget to mention your IQ. What's that got to do with anything? I know math better than you, blah. I mean, I don't even know. You're probably the same people. Whatever. It's a discussion. Don't have to call people names. Have some class. Well, I didn't call you a name. But I call trolls. I get a lot of trolls, Justin. No, just... And if you've been watching me, like, blah here is a troll. So, this is why I go off a little bit. If you're hitting all the classics. Unfortunately, Justin, I am a dick. I admit that I'm a dick. I'll call myself a dick. But I mean, the discussion's still to the point. If I'm going to go ahead and recruit, if say I did decide today, I'm going to go ahead and start my own guild, and it's going to be a trial guild, right? And what first thing I'm going to do is I'm not going to go fucking metrics on fucking dummy. It's never going to fucking happen. It's never going to fucking happen. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask static. No, blah, you're missing the point. We're talking about test. So if you're testing quality player, the first thing I can't do is I can't go off of anything on the dummy. I have to go ahead and say, What's the static value of your build? What's your static amount? Okay, this is me in the past. I'm referencing like past me in, you know, other MMOs. Yeah, it's understandable. Thanks. And I'm sorry, Justin. I do want to officially apologize to you. I owe you an apology. Thank you. But first thing I want to do is I'm going to get his static value. I'm going to try to say, okay, that's cool. Maybe we can get that up. Maybe we can't. Maybe that's the top end static amount for your build, right? With no other variables applied to the effect. Now, let's see what you can do in the hardest type of scenarios we can put you in. So where you lie at in mechanics and in your rotation. So there's no way here. I've tried, but look, this dude, seriously, this is why I have to literally have to go ahead and ban these dudes like that. Let me go ahead. I'm trying to block him. There, he's blocked. Anyways. Mystic is a troll magnet. There's so many, he's right, many people think because they do X on a dummy, they think they can do it in a dungeon. There's so many toxic trolls on PS4 that loves to troll Mystic streams, right? There are. And that's where I'm getting at. Like, target dummy is good for practicing rotation, understanding where your static value is, and helping you clean things up. It's not in a real scenario in which I can apply the mechanics. And every content creator tells you that. That's why I never bank on recruiting a player based on a target dummy. Like I said, I can get the fastest runner on a team, right? Somebody who says, oh, dude, I parse 60k DPS on my target dummy. Holy shit. Really? Wow. Cool. Dude, your rotation's clean as shit. Right? But then you put him in a scenario, and it's like he sucks. His recovery, he fumbles up on the mechanics on placement. So his recovery on his rotation is shit. So it doesn't do me a lick of good that he can smash buttons to get a number that has no mechanics to it. Normally, DPS testing is just to show you know your line. The line isn't used really in a trial. Most people just like to see if you know your line. Yeah, I get it. But that's why I talk about recovery. So I'm not talking about your stam recovery. I'm not talking about your magicka recovery. I'm talking about your rotation recovery based on mechanics. And like when I said, Outcast has the cleanest I've seen out of all the streamers. When he streams, he has the cleanest. His average between his classes, even on his DK, was between 22 to 24 based on each encounter. Okay. Now, a lot of people are like, well, that doesn't make sense because you can push over like 40 to 50. But keep in mind, mechanics are applied effect. When his drop, when the mechanic happens, you suffer a drop in your parse, right, on your metrics. So what ends up happening, you have to know what derated effects are still being applied, what dot effects are still being applied throughout the mechanic, and your pickup point. Pickup point is recovery point between your rotation. So, Outcast knows his durations to the timer effect so clean, right, that his pickup point is directly on his last stopping point of mechanic. I personally see people that know their line do better. It's just practice. Right, I agree, Justin. But target dummies are what makes players, right? Yeah, I like the sarcasm there, Joshua. Target dummies are there so you can practice DPS rotation, make adjustments. Right. It's exactly what it is, man. And I'm not against it. I just don't bank on it. Like, I do the static value, and that's why I don't do full end rotation, because human error can be applied. But static value is always remain true. So that's why I always say, people, what's your static? What's your rotation? How are you hitting? Okay. So boards don't hit back, Bruce Lee, right? Oh, I love the quote there, Krill. Love that. But the point of it is, like, literally, how does your rotation apply? How do you apply the rotation through a real mechanic or a real scenario? When you have to move, you have to duck in and out. And how do you recover after the mechanic? How's your DPS pickup after said mechanic? That's why I would say, when you watch Outcast on recovery points throughout mechanics, is the cleanest. It's the cleanest I've seen in any streamer in any scenario. Vet DLC, vet trials, whatever he's doing. Rotation pickup throughout mechanics, it's the cleanest. Recovery point is on. Just tick. You don't get much better. You can tell he does it consistently. And that's exactly my point. So when people want to talk about metrics, and console players want to talk about metrics a lot. And that's the kind of their point. They're like, they want to act like they know what metrics are. They got a target dummy. They don't have metrics. And honestly, I don't think that there should be a metric system ever implemented in the game, because it becomes toxic, right? And I can honestly tell you that from firsthand experience with other MMOs. I used to run a parser in raids, and on PC it's easy. I can post my FTC, so I can go throughout an entire dungeon, post FTC, right? It's postable to your entire party member. It's all of it. Practice, knowledge, and experience. Right. And I agree. And that's what I'm saying, Justin. If you can put yourself in that bet DLC content, and you can achieve said results, you can put yourself with 12 other people, organization, and be successful. But you can't PUG a vet, do a hard mode, and anticipate you're going to have success. That's what I'm saying. You know, that's what I'm saying. You have to be understanding. Can I do vet DLC content with the current configuration? And is it beyond the viability of the build? Am I optimized for the content ahead of me with my class and my role? If you can honestly believe and say yes, and that you can achieve said results, then you put yourself in organized play. By putting yourself in organized play, now you can accomplish other feats, said vet trials and whatever have you. So, but you have to be aware of the players who know mechanics. Once again, I've seen so many players say, I can do this and I can do that, but then when you put them in a mechanical situation, they fail. It's not because it's the build. It's not because they're sucky players. I don't believe that's the case. I believe it's just because they don't know the mechanics. And you have to know mechanics. That's what I'm saying. You have to know them. You have to know. But once again, Justin, I do want to apologize. I want to make that formal apology again. And I do it. I'm going to sit here and tell you I'm flawed. I'm a dick. And this is why I don't. This is why I do not lead a guild. Because I know who I am. I know what I do. I know what I get. I get out of hand. I do. I get out of hand. I mean, seriously, I am a type of player that I dictate because I want to get it done. When I'm in organized play, I want to know, you know, do you have this? Who's got that? What's going on? What's your rotation? What's this? And someone, if anybody was to ever tell me, oh, you know, we got this on a target dummy, fuck your fucking target dummy. I'm taking you here. We're two-manning this. What? No, we do it. Like, that's the one thing about my friends. We push ourselves to whatever we can do. We see how far we can break. You know, we don't claim anything. We just push ourselves. Knowledge is power, right? You know, and it is. And I agree, man. And I feel like you can always grow. You can always learn. Like, that's the one thing I really like about the game. Like, I feel like I can learn. I don't feel like I know everything. You know, a lot of like blah was like, oh, mention your IQ. Well, I have a very high IQ, but I'm not a genius by any means. I mean, I'm human. I make mistakes every friggin' day. You know, we all do. That's the best thing. And the one thing that Tupac Shakur says, even in one of his lyrics, even a genius asks questions. Why? Because they want to know. Then knowledge is power. You're searching for an answer. But sometimes the answer isn't so clear cut, because when you get the answer to one question, it only raises what? More questions. I can agree. It's okay. No worries. I like to discuss. I won't troll you. Thank you, Justin. You know, I just get a lot of troll, and I don't care, man. You know, like I said, I agree with a lot of content creators on a lot of different scenarios. And certain things I do and certain things I don't. And, you know, and having a healthy debate is a good thing. Sorry if it felt like I was trolling. I was just discussing. Right. Well, what it ended up happening, Justin, blah, like, was right beside you. And I kind of took that like, okay, well, here comes the trolls. Because I usually get hit with multiples, not just one. You need to take the time to teach players the mechanics of the dungeons. The biggest cause of dungeon fails is lack of knowledge. Right. And you're right. That's the problem. Same thing with trials. And that's kind of why I want to get into trial scenarios with a couple of players. You know, like Law was talking about VMA. I'd love to see you do VMA. I haven't been in VMA for... oh, fuck. A couple months. And I don't do VMA on a regular basis. And would I be the best? No. If I go in VMA, I go in just to fuck off. I'll be honest. Like right now, I need a hunt set. I need 2 more pieces of my hunt set. And I was talking to my dude about this the other day. I'm like, I have to go back in VMA. And he's like, why? Are you getting a weapon? I'm like, I don't really give a fuck about the weapons. I'm not there to really get weapons. And he's like, why are you there? And I said, I have to get 2 pieces of hunt. I need a sword of hunt, and I need a neck of hunt. So I still need 2 pieces of hunt for my Stam Warden, right? So I need 2 pieces for my Stam Warden that only drop in VMA. And that's why I need to be in there. So, although that presumes the players in the PUGs are willing to be open to learning and patient enough, right? Teaching PUGs is hard. You know, that's a hard situation. You know, the funny thing about it is, I want to help players without becoming... you guys see how I go off. I mean, I do. Like, literally, there's a part of me that locks that up. Like, I lock it up. I have to. You know, I don't want to be that player anymore, man. I really don't. Like, people were like, oh, I want to go ahead, like, my trial guilds. If I want content, it's there. I have access to it. I got the players who have it done. I can do it. I can rock in with them with anything I want. Any type of build configurations. Never question. My shit is never questioned. Ever. They know. Mystic's getting it done. He's getting it done. He knows he's here. He does the mechanics. He learns. And I won't put myself in a scenario without learning. Because that's the funny thing. Like yesterday I did normal. I could have easily done vet. Right? But it doesn't give me the perception of the layout of the map and what's initially occurring. Now, normal's easy compared to vet. It's not even, you know, in that same category. But I'm a type of person, I'm a walkthrough type dude. I want to see it firsthand. I want to see the configuration. I want to see where the ads are going to spawn. I want to know. Right? And I don't rush anything. I'm not quick to jump the gun. So as soon as I can figure that out, right, then I step it up. Right? Then you step it up. You don't just jump in head first without looking how deep the water is. Because if you dive head first in it's shallow water, well, you're cracking your head. Your skull's going to get cracked. So you just need to be like a little precautious. So, you know, if I want to do content, I do it. But I don't do it competitive. I don't do it like go in for gear. I have fun and try to keep from becoming the person I once was. That's all I do. So... anyways, guys, I'm going to cut this. I'm going to take a break and see what I can do. But 2 DLC vets. 2 fails attempts. And why? Simple effects. I was in a vet dungeon and they were trying to tell me to learn the mechanics. I was very confused because I was watching the healer only heal the tank. Well, Josh, unfortunately in this game, the one thing is if they put a healing effect on the tank, like a ground effect, like healing springs or something, that sort of sucks. But like Breath of Life, you can't be targeted. It's going to actually like literally heal the lowest target. Same thing with Funnel Health. Same thing with Stone Fist. Same thing with now Blossom's different. Warden's different. Warden, it's kind of a line of sight issue, so you might be right on that one if it was a Warden healer. Sork's Twilight, it targets the lowest. So, but mechanics is, you know, you might know mechanics, but that's why I said I'm the type of person, I need to go ahead, whatever. I need to run Vet White Gold for jewelry at some point, not in a hurry though. Today is a good day to get it done. Yeah. It's a good day. I got a necklace out of it, and I'll probably roll in a couple of things. I prefer sometimes pugging with the tank. Like, I don't mind going on my tank and dealing with pugs because I can force them a lot better with my tanks versus any other class. Because me being a tank, I already know how to do the mechanics. The only problem with the tank on that is making sure a DPS or somebody grabs a pinion on the exchange in white gold. Other than that, it is what it is. But just trying to avoid making the same mistakes, man. But yeah, I'm almost 600. Once like I said, I get about 620. I'll be amping up for vet trials on this platform, and I'm hoping that, you know, in the future I can, you know, get with you know, a guild that I like, and I can get, you know, some content out there for players. Yeah, it's a pledge. I would like to get my purple Spell Power Cure jewelry. Right. Oh, I know. He had no AoE heals at all. See, yeah, Josh. And as soon as you said that, I could tell that something was off. And like that's why I don't like hybrid builds, like hybrid healer builds, because like they'll put in a damaging effect on top of their healing. And they're not realizing, oh, great, I have a single target burst heal, but I have no AoE heals. I have no HOTS. You know, I have, you know, no buffs. And to me, that's why I stay dedicated to my role. So I'm offering the best I can for that group in that scenario. So that's what it's about. And Justin, once again, thank you for your input and your feedback. I appreciate that. And once again, I do apologize formally to you. I just, you know, I do get trolls. I'm a little, like, aggressive with the trolls, you know, because, you know, they want to talk shit, but at the end of the day, this is what I ask people. Which content creators were talking about the numbers way back before the devs had to intervene and tell them? They ignored diminishing returns on all levels. They ignored, they still think that BIS is a thing, even though a lot of content creators have finally said, oh, there is no BIS. You know, we don't have a BIS system because of these numbers. They're a reflection of what your class does. So finally, you know, it's an ongoing thing. How can a healer in ESO have AoE heals? That's impossible. I love your guys' sarcasm. You guys have the best sarcasm ever. Yeah, but yeah, you see it. You see players, like Josh was saying, that you see players who don't equip it, and every class does. Every class has AoE heal, and every class has access to buffs. Oh, thanks, Justin. I appreciate that, man. No, dude, I do, like, I'm a big man, man. If I owe you an apology, I'm going to say I owe you an apology. Seriously. You know, oh, thanks, Justin. I appreciate that. You know, if I ever, that's one thing, I have no pride. I have no room for pride in my life. I am a person who admits his flaws, and I wear it with a badge of honor. You know, always, always. That's what keeps us in the right direction, keeps us on the path. And once again, guys, I want to do content, in-game content for you guys. I don't want to be that person I once was. And you guys can see it. Me on that precipice of what I used to be and restraining myself. And I have to keep myself in check, because if I don't, then I push it to the limits. And it's just who I am. I'll go overboard. I'll take it to a whole different level. And I don't think that's good for this community. I don't think that is. It's not the type of behavior that people really should see or act like. You know, when you're screaming at your team because they're missing up on a mechanic, when you are anticipating everything to fire 100% with precision. It's like an OCD thing. And seriously, like it drives me nuts. Like, if I still walk into a dungeon this day and I don't see one person with 5 infal, like, I start twitching. Because I'm like, what the fuck? And they're like, oh, the vulnerable. I'm like, it's 100% uptime. There's no chance that that 100%, 8% is going to be applied. The damage modifier. I'm like, who's fucking wanting to ignore 8% increase value? I'm like, not me. Not me. Not me. But it's not BIS. It's not meta. So, oh my gosh. But it's a numbers game. It's a numbers game. People don't know their math. I mean, every heal in ESO is AoE. Healing Springs, Combat Prayer. Yeah, there's just so many. But yet, you know, like, you know, people will screw up. I've seen it. It happens. Alright, guys. I love the discussion. I love the new healing set, by the way. It's going to be great. It's going to be good. Like I said, you know, teach their own. We didn't have AoE damage in that second dungeon. And you see it. And that's my point, guys. You see it. I'm not making this shit up. I'm not making it up. I'm not. You get to see, you know, people say, oh, I pull out 50k DPS with single target application and yet no AoEs. Well, then how's your AoEs working? I've seen it all. I've seen all of it. It never fails to amaze me. Never fails. Ever. Whatever. Alright, guys. I'm out. This is Mr. Graven, the CSO Daily. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the support. And Justin, thank you for being patient with me. Alright.